Former burglars of Reddit. Where is one place people should never hide valuables? Your shed. Seriously, lock your effing shed. Even if your house is well locked. If your shed isn't, I likely have access to a plethora of tools I can use to gain access. Don't help the burglar. Lock your shed. Even if your house is well locked. If your shed isn't, I likely have access to a plethora of tools I can use to gain access. Don't help the burglar. Lock your shed. This one step further. Don't leave things on the porch that can be used to gain entry. A simple broom handle becomes a key. I once used a paint roller cleaning tool to help me reach the last 5 inches to unlock a sliding glass door through a dog door flap. If you want to know how a burglar is going to get into your house, lock your keys inside when you're already late for work. Don't keep spare key near front door, under pot plant, under doormat, top of door frame etc. Fire safes only are safe from fires for like 20 minutes. That's why you gotta layer them for ultimate fire protection. My cousin lives in a bad neighborhood, so she went to a thrift store, bought an obvious looking jewelry box and a bunch of expensive looking costume jewelry that's actually worthless and put it in the box. She keeps this in a conspicuous place. Then she leaves a few 20s on top. This way if someone breaks in, they will grab this and run, ignoring some of her well-hidden valuables. The ol' switcheroo. Also, side note, I used to do door-to-door sales for ADT. People would let me in the house and just tell me where all the important stuff was before even verifying I was legit. Don't do that. We had new windows in recently. The blokes that came took out the windows so fast and so quietly. I thought, I hope they are paid enough to never think about doing break-ins. I imagine it would probably work well too. Sometimes the more obvious it is, the less people think to check. Put some high-vis on and just drill the door off. Nobody will probably say anything. Don't leave things out that people can see from outside your home or car. If you buy a new TV or computer, break down the box it came in. Don't just leave it by your garbage bin. Lock doors and windows. Keep your handbag closed. If someone wants to break in, they will. Don't keep everything out in the open, and have insurance on anything that is valuable. If someone wants to break in, they will. This is the most important takeaway from this thread. Most neighborhoods are relatively empty during the day and there's often not good visibility to back and side doors. Inside vacuum cleaner. We hid money in it and it got stolen with everything else in the house back in Syria. Edit. Thief was the military forces that invaded the area, not someone I know or someone desperate. Wow, that sucks. We had our apartments burgled. There were 4 apartments in the area. Guy kicked down the door and apparently was in or out pretty quickly. I came home from work. Cop told me, never leave valuables in your nightstand. Might have even said bottom drawer. Sure enough, mine were checked. I could tell because my envelopes were moved from where I placed them. I lived in a 4 apartment block. Every apartment got broken into except mine. But the only easily accessible window to my apartment was my dog's room. Nothing like 90 pounds of a hole that doesn't like someone waking him up from a nap. For the college kids that might read this, don't keep your textbooks in your car. On the day of my finals, I had about 6 textbooks I was gonna sell after my finals. I left the books in my car while I took my tests. Came back to find someone broke my window out to steal the textbooks. Cop told me that it's very common and unlikely they will catch the guy. So I was out $700. Which was huge as a college student, a net loss of $2.50 per textbook. According to Snooze, these books refund value. I've seen people make false outlets for hiding valuables like cash and jewelry. Just an idea. A burglar would have to be at your home for a long time to start checking outlets. I think I'd be fooled even if it was at eye level and out of place. If you want to hide rolls of cash, use a resealable frozen vegetable chicken bag and hide it there. No need to use an obvious safe or cabinet, not drawer or wallet. Freezer for sure. Not a burglar, but our home has been broken into. We only had the 1 bedroom at the time, but the places that the burglar looked into were the closet. Everything was thrown out. Desk drawers. Found a bit of cash and our passports were taken. The entry furniture, drawers, under the bed, bedside tables, At least now I know where not to hide valuables. Not that I have any. I can't fathom why someone would take passports. Like, those probably aren't worth the hassle or effort to sell. Someone will be in for a surprise if they open the safe I keep in my nightstand. It's full of my kids' baby teeth. Easy cash trade with the tooth fairy though. I had a Malamute dog years ago. Had another till later. But this was a particularly fluffy one. A friend had heard that it was possible to spin their fur. So I saved enough to knit several jumpers. Anyway, a burglar took stuff from our garage and this massive box of fur too. Must have been quite a surprise. A burglar stole my dad's box of dried up dog shit from the porch once. My dad goes out in the yard once a week to clean up the dog turds and usually throws them in an Amazon box and then tosses it. He left it on the porch for some reason and forgot about it. He realized he forgot about it when he saw it spilled open on the street a block down. We laugh about the turd burglar still. Reading this discussion with fascination and imagining alternative life where I have stuff worthy of stealing. Also, my husband is a hoarder, so I would be grateful if somebody came and stole some stuff. Yeah, anyone trying to find my valuables is going to have a hell of a job. It already looks like I've been burgled. This doesn't exactly answer the question asked, but it is a tip on potentially protecting your valuables. Bear with me because it's a bit strange. Glue a spare key, not one that opens something important, under your doormat. Weird, right? A few years ago I did this in addition to installing cameras. Over the last couple of years I've seen this exact scenario play out. Thief walks to the door, checks under the mat, unsuccessfully tries to grab the key, backs up, looks around to see if anyone is watching, presumably because they think they have fallen for some trap prank where they are being surveilled, and leaves. They don't even search for another way in because it spooks them. I like this. They spend 2-3 minutes effing with the lock, which is probably close to how long they were comfortable being there to begin with. They said glue it though, so the thief wouldn't even be able to pick it up, which might make them even more suspicious paranoid. At that point though you might as well just hide one of those smile you're on camera signs under your mat. Fake rocks are a dead giveaway. Sock drawers are cliche. If you have a small safe that's not bolted down, we are taking that thing. We all have a safe guy. Our goal is to get in and out pretty quickly. If you hide something in a random box all the way up in your attic, it's probably safe. Whatever you do, please don't leave your damn kid at home. So, leave a small safe full of bricks in a conspicuous place, and keep your real safe in a sock drawer. A safe. Also, almost all locks are bullshit unless you had a locksmith put in security pins. But the robbers can just take the safe and figure it out later if time is an issue. Edit. On the lock issue, if you are in the US, there are about 5 major door lock manufacturers. Or thief can have just 5 bump keys, plus a few others just in case, and get in your house easily. A bump key is just a referenced key that is ground down to 4 or 5 equal triangular points. When inserted with the proper bump key to the lock, you just bump the back of the key with a rubber mallet and try to time the turn when all of the pins align. Usually just takes about 5 tries or less. That's why you have to use a couple £100 gun safe that takes 3 people to get into a spot that it doesn't fit, so it's wedged in there. Or you bolt the safe to the floor, which most decent safes are designed to allow unless they're already extremely heavy. Pro tip. Hide your small valuables inside a used empty fire extinguisher. No one is going to steal a fire extinguisher. I had a fire extinguisher stolen from my car. And where do you guys live? Just really curious. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. If that was my name I would make it my life mission to move to that address. I hide my vegetables in the meat drawer of my refrigerator. Obligatory, never done it, but you'd be surprised at how often people leave their cars unlocked with nice things inside. A lot of people actually leave them unlocked with the keys inside, lol. It's how the majority of cars are stolen. Eliminating the easy opportunity is the easiest step and will do a lot to keep your valuables safe. There are also quite a lot of cars still in circulation where the door locks don't use the digital portion of the key, meaning that the same physical shaped key is used for literally millions of cars. My old Ford Focus kept being unlocked by people when parked outside my house back in the day, and I found out my key would open my friend's Ford Focus too. Obviously, These keys won't let you start the car, but they'll give access to the cabin no problem. Depends how old the car is. Only has to predate immobilizers and those keys will let you start the car. Then again, a lot of older cars are not that secure in the first place. Mine you can gain access to and start without the key anyway, if you know the car type. Inside one of those small lock boxes. It's great when you find one because they're simple to open, and if they don't have a wall safe then all of their main valuables and money are usually in it. Jackpot. My dad had a small one bolted to the floor that contained about $50 cash in it. He told me about it a few days before he died and said it was mine now, but he never gave me the combination or where it was exactly. Took me longer to find the thing than open it. I ended up prying it off the floor and taking the whole thing back to my house, where I had more tools to open it up. Must have had a giant house. Not a burglar or former burglar, but never hide keys and lock combinations in a jar near the door or under your welcome mat. Also, if you purchase something big, like a TV or something big, never leave the box near your home. The burglar would see it and know you have something valuable in there. I know this sounds crazy, but mow your lawn frequently. It'll show that you have been and had enough time to mow your lawn and that someone must be there. It's obvious, but only announce your trips when you're finished so at first nobody knows you're not there. Tax driver, sir, please tell me where you wanna go. Me, nah man, I'll tell only after I reach there. Obligatory not a burglar, but I did work at bank. Another teller told me about how this woman brought in a flower pot to the girl's teller station. The bank teller was understandably confused when the woman pointed at the flower pot and says, "I need to make a deposit." Turns out, this woman had planted thousands of dollars in her flower pot over the years. The problem? She watered that flower for years with the money planted in the soil. Not only that, but she wrapped every bill in duct tape to keep the water from messing up the bills. The teller had to dig into the pot and help this woman unwrap money from duct tape. The teller said the worst part was the bills were soggy and moldy when they unwrapped them, so most of them were torn, or the ink was faded beyond readability, so the woman lost money. Don't put your money in flower pots or wrap it in duct tape. Edit to clarify to anyone who has questions. I have no idea why this lady did this except that she must have thought it kept her cash safe. I was told this story by my co-worker when I first started as a bank teller. She was always a truthful person, so I have reason to believe her. However, I recognize this is hearsay in terms of storytelling. I'm just repeating what I was told. The government does take damaged bills back and refunds you your money if you meet their guidelines. Links to said bureau and guidelines are in many comments below. Please utilize this if you are worried about your bill's integrity. Also, I worked at a credit union, so we were required to do ridiculous and odd things like this for customers. This is just one in many strange stories I heard and or experienced. To understand the teller's line of thinking, please note that any signs of a customer being unhappy was dealt with by being verbally reprimanded in front of the customer. Even if we were following policy, that's an incredibly stupid place to leave thousands of dollars. It's probably a good idea if done properly. Instead of effing duct tape, use bags or some sort of plastic wrap you can maybe shrink to the money. Multiple layers too. Then it should definitely be waterproof and pretty hidden inside a plant pot. Bonus tips. Probably add silica packets with the dollars. Might also want to spray the dollars with something so whatever nasty is already on the dollars doesn't start multiplying and growing. I'm going to keep a small safe in the living room with a giant foam middle finger inside for when the day comes. 50% of the people on my street are either retired or work from home or have a stay-home spouse. Always an old lady watching through her curtains. It's my safest home ever. I'm stay-at-home spouse. Aliens could land on my lawn and I wouldn't notice. My mother has a closet filled with food supplies, boxes of bags of spices and such. There's at least 3 dozen such boxes at all times in said closet. One of them, and she replaces it regularly so the expiration date remains relevant. She opens up carefully, fills with valuables, and then carefully closes back up. She had me try to find which one of the boxes it was. I genuinely couldn't tell from sight alone. Only the slightly different heft tipped me off after 10 minutes. No burglar will ever find that stash. No burglar will ever find that stash. They will now.